All right, guys, what's going on? Karate Kid Fanatics back here again. Episode 30 today. We got our very special guest, Brandon Gibson. You probably know him as the dentist car buyer from season 2, episode 2 of Cobra Kai Back in Black. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
It's got 5.1 surround sound, high-res monitors, and comprehensive safety features.
Sounds great. What's under the hood?
2.0 turbo i4.
You seem more like a V8 man to me. Right?
Yeah, so how'd you get involved, with acting? What made you want to get into the industry?
Well, this started a long time ago. I started doing stand-up when I was 14 years old. Somebody just said, "Hey, you should do stand-up," and I said, "Oh, okay, fine." And I called the local comedy club in Memphis, where I'm from originally, and said, "Do you guys have like a local night or something like that?" And they said, "Yeah, show up on Sunday with 5 minutes." And I said, "Okay, great. I'm 14 years old. See you Sunday." And I hung up. Didn't give me a chance to say no. So I showed up, did my time, and the owner, he and I hit it off right away. So he said, "You come and work out anytime you want." That became my home club. I had my first TV special at 16. NBC put me on TV doing stand-up. Hit the road for 15 some odd years and decided I wanted more. Kind of Steve Martin kind of thing, like stand-up wasn't enough. It was just the avenue to get you to the next thing, and moved out to LA, and I've been one of the fortunate ones.
Yeah, so speaking of stand-up, was it difficult for you, like having to get in front of all those people? Because, it's not like acting where you can just, reshoot or, take another take. Is it tougher to, do that than acting?
For me, I've always felt, as a matter of fact, I said this in my first TV special, I said that I feel more comfortable on stage than I do in my own bed at night.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
To me, you give me a mic and it's go time. And there's no butterflies. The only butterflies are like excitement butterflies. I don't get nervous, and it's to me, I feel safe and I feel at home on stage.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll get into Cobra Kai, but you actually appeared on one of my favorite shows growing up, Austin and Alley, as the chili cook-off judge. What was that?
That was awesome. Now, one of the big reasons I got into show business is because of the Three Stooges, right? Three Stooges were known for having pie fights. They always had pie fights. So I've always wanted to get in some sort of great experience. And anytime you can throw a handful of chili at somebody and hit them in the side of the head, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. 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 So.
And it was awesome, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of Cobra Kai, were you a Los Angeles actor or an Atlanta actor? Like
at the time, I've been in LA for over 20 years, and the majority of my career has been in LA. But we went down to the Southeast for about just right at 3 years, and that's where I booked Cobra Kai. That was, the matter of fact, that's the first thing I booked when I got there.
Yeah. So what was that like? It was a little short, but yeah, what was it like? Getting to work with Ralph Macchio and Courtney.
They were cool. They were really nice, and Courtney and I sat in the car for a while, while they're setting up shots and things like that, and we got to chat. And she's super nice, very sweet, and she's got a great laugh, and she's not one of those, every now and then you'll run into an actor that's just kind of like, okay, they're here for the day, whatever, do your thing and be done. She was not like that at all. She was really cool and seemed genuinely interested in what I was talking about and my path from LA to there. And she was great. Ralph was really nice as well. And, having grown up with Karate Kid, Ralph and I aren't that much different in age. And so, Ralph has always been kind of one of those guys I'd love to work with, and I finally got the chance to. And he couldn't have been nicer. Very, very welcoming to the set, and just an overall nice guy.
Yeah. Speaking of Cobra Kai, I know you were only in season 2, but what was the move from YouTube to Netflix like?
It was great. I think it's a great thing for the show because when I shot it, it was still being produced by YouTube.
Yeah.
And it didn't I don't think it got the traction that it really needed until it hit Netflix.
Yeah.
So while there was a large collection of people that did see it on YouTube, I didn't start getting bombarded with messages until it hit Netflix. And I'm getting messages, 3 or 4 times a day. Hey, I saw you on Cobra Kai. Hey, I saw you on Cobra Kai. I couldn't believe watch Cobra Kai. And there you are. So I think Netflix was a great move for them. Whatever the situation was that transpired to get them there, I think it was a great move for the show.
Yeah, so I've seen that, you're an actor, director, editor, all these different roles, within the industry. What is it like, changing these hats, going from one to the other?
To me, it's fun. I think, you can make a long career out of an actor, out of being an actor, and that's fine. And I love doing it, but
Yeah.
I like the process. So I started about 5 or 6 years ago. I started producing, and I have a tendency to wear too many hats. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'll try to get my hands, like supervising producer, and I'll try to get my hand in the editing bay, and it to me the process really you get a full grasp of what it's all about when you
Yeah.
get on both sides of the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, so what was it like being on the Game Shakers, no, a pretty successful Nickelodeon show?
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun too. It's the what's funny is that when you are going through the run throughs, that you have the blocking and stage, you get all that stuff set up, and then the network will come through and you'll go through run throughs. When you
Yeah.
go through run throughs, they give you examples of what the laugh will sound like. So there's always one guy in the background when you say something funny. There's one guy, and his sole job is to go, ha.
Yeah.
That's his job. So
Yeah.
you say something funny and you hear, ha, and that's how you know you've hit it. And
Yeah.
that, and then as long as you hear that sound, the network approves. But it was great, man. The set was great. It was fun to, do a little stunt work. When I jumped out of the plane, that was just obviously green screen, and
Yeah.
it was about a 6 foot drop from there to the pad. So I had to peel off on one side, and my co-star had to jump off the other side. So getting
Yeah.
to do a little stunt work, even though it's mild, was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. So what is your favorite part, of being like an actor?
Create just the creativity, when you get on set and you get a director and some other cast members that just love to play. I love the freedom of being able to play. When a director says do what you feel is right, and then we'll, if we need to wheel it back, we'll wheel it back. You give me the green light and the go sign, I'm going to go nuts.
Yeah.
uh, and the freedom of being able to have that playtime on set is what you want as an actor. You get to continue to be a kid, and you get to keep mining for those little nuggets of fun,
Yeah.
uh, and comedy and stuff like that. I love the freedom to play is the biggest for me.
Yeah. So do you ever like do you ever want to like write? I mean, I've seen where you wrote some stuff, but is that something you want to get more into doing, now that you're back in LA, writing more of your own stuff?
Well, I've always done that. I've always loved to write and create, and I've got 6 shows right now that are in development that I've created.
Yeah.
And I like that process. I love finding the stories, finding the characters, finding their paths, what it's going to look like, the absurdities, the realities, and all that. So I love the writing process. The only thing, with everything else, you don't necessarily like their critique of the writing process, but it's a part of it. For someone to come in and say, I like what you've done here, but why don't you change this and change this? And that could have been my favorite part,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
make the changes. But, the writing is a lot of fun because you just get to sit and let your mind go nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw where you appeared on Teenage Bounty Hunters. I've watched the first couple of episodes. What was that like?
That was a lot of fun. That was another one where we got to play.
Yeah.
And those people have a great long pedigree of shows that they've done. Orange is the New Black, and I mean, going all the way back to a different world, which was a spinoff from Cosby Show. They loved playtime, and when you give me the chance to play, I've said it a couple times. It's great, and
Yeah.
my goal in everything that I do is whenever I'm in a comedic scene with another actor, I will tell them before, it is my goal to break you. I'm going to
Yeah.
make you break. I'm going to make you laugh. And
Yeah.
if I don't make them break at least twice, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah. Yeah. So for you, what is your favorite project for you personally that you've got to work on?
I really like Blackish. Blackish was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Anthony Anderson's a great guy.
Yeah.
When I got to set the first day, we were on location, and I got to my trailer, and I posted, just a picture on Instagram of the front of my trailer, and then Anthony responded like right away and said, "Hey, man, are you here yet?"
Yeah.
I didn't even know he knew who I was, and I said, "Yeah, I'm in the trailer." He goes, "All right, I'm going to swing by," and he came by my trailer just to welcome me to set.
Yeah.
And I was on that show for the week. We shot. I think we shot 3 full days or something like that.
Yeah.
And I met another great actor, a guy named Michael Nanfria. Michael's great. And we had a blast on that set, and that was one of my favorite recent things that I've done. Fresh Off the Boat was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, so for you, what is your, dream role? Like whether it's a type of movie or a show, what is your, dream that you would love to be a part of?
Well, comedy is my forte. That's what I've been, all about since I started in show business. But every
Yeah.
now and then you get a chance to kind of creep in and do some darker things. I got a chance to do that with a show called Your Worst Nightmare, and
Yeah.
while it was sort of a disturbing role, it was a lot of fun to play the other side of that.
Yeah.
Also shot a pilot called Spilled Paint, where my head was shaved, I had a neck tattoo, and I was the guy you didn't want to cross.
Yeah.
Um, that was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
That's still in post production and that's getting all cleaned up and everything. So you'll see some stuff from that coming up soon. But
Yeah.
I like going against type because you look at me and I'm not the kind of guy that you would, cower from when I walked into a room. In fact, I
Yeah.
didn't think
Yeah.
you noticed if I walked into a room.
Yeah.
But so anything playing against type is great. But I like the silliness as far as like a dream role. I love the silliness that Jim Carrey got to have in Ace Ventura,
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber, and just the absurd characters that you get to play throughout the entire film or TV show.
Yeah, so you were also on another really big show, General Hospital. What was that like?
That was crazy. They work fast.
Yeah.
And it's wild because you walk into the soundstage and there are 15, 20 sets set up, and they just go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Director's not on the floor. Director's in a booth giving you direction. And they move quick, man. They move really quick. It was neat. And it's weird because everybody on set was 1,000 times more good looking than my best day. So you're surrounded by a bunch of people who are great looking people, super
Yeah.
talented. And you just feel like, okay, I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah, so for those, there's a ton of dialogue. So was that tough, getting all that dialogue?
No, that's another one where they gave me a little bit of freedom to play. They want some stuff, like right down the line, right down the barrel, exactly how it's written, and then they say, okay, you can get a little loose with this.
Yeah.
So dialogue has never really been that much of an issue. And a lot of times I'll push myself to the very end of the time I need to know the dialogue, and then I'll try to just shove it all in there so that
Yeah.
it's all kind of just there. And then once I get in the moment, as long as it's there in my head, it can come out in a variety of different ways.
Yeah. So for Cobra Kai, are you Team Miyagi-Do or Team Cobra Kai? Yeah, that's what I figured. I saw the top of your shirt. I have the same one. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they got benefits of both. It's when you see the movie, the original movie, you kind of you lean towards Miyagi Do, and then you start to
Yeah.
see the show, and you're like, okay, there's a whole different spin here. So, they do a really good job of giving you the back and forth, the seesaw of being on Miyagi Do and Cobra Kai.
Yeah, what's some shows that you've binged during the quarantine staying at home?
Oh gosh, man, there's so many. There's a great show called Goliath on Amazon. It's Billy Bob Thornton and it's David Kelly writing Without Borders.
Yeah.
It's a great show. Let's see, Yellowstone is really
Yeah.
good. And then of course I watched Teenage Bounty Hunters. It's a great
Yeah.
show, a lot of fun. There's so many. It's hard to keep track of all of them. But I think some of the ones I enjoyed most were Goliath and Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Some good writing.
Yeah. So when you were in Atlanta, you missed the In and Out I saw.
Oh man, In-N-Out Burger, dude. Yeah, it's hard surviving without the freedom to have In-N-Out Burger. If you've never had an In-N-Out Burger, get yourself somewhere to where you can get access to one. I think the nearest one to the southeast area is in Dallas. I think they've got one in Dallas. But
Yeah.
book a flight for that reason and that reason only.
I've been out to California twice and I've never been to In and Out.
Oh man, you get out here, I'm taking you, and I get your first double. It's on me.
Yeah. What do you get there?
Double, light grilled onions, mustard, ketchup, pickle, obviously the cheese, the animal style fries, and a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You got a ton. I was like, dang.
Well, in fairness, what I posted on Instagram, my son's birthday was on the 9th.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so that wasn't all for me. I just being being silly, but that was for him and his friends, and I had a double in there.
Yeah. So also you appeared on NCIS. What was it like to appear on that?
Man, I got to tell you, that was one of the best experiences I've had in show business.
Yeah.
And it was really cool when I got to the table read. I went to get my spot and I sat down, and people would stop what they were doing, stop scoring their script and stuff like that to get up and come over and welcome me to the script,
Yeah, yeah,
or welcome me to the cast, which was great. And Michael Weatherly couldn't have been nicer. And I told him that day, I said, I'm going to break you. And I did. And part of me breaking him actually made it for what actually got on screen.
yeah,
Um, and they were super super nice. My trailer was awesome.
yeah,
The New York Times was there doing an article on the show that day,
yeah,
interviewing other people. And at one point, I guess they got kind of tired of answering questions and looked over at me and said, I don't know, go ask Brandon.
yeah,
I was only there for the day, but the New
yeah,
York Times came
yeah,
over and started interviewing me.
yeah,
So I'm like, listen, I got to be honest with you. I appreciate it. I'm here for the day, but they didn't care. They
yeah,
thought if I was interesting enough for them to say, go ask Brandon, then I don't think I made the article, but it was just neat that they were just
so
like, I don't know,
cool.
ask Brandon.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're speaking about, how you're, like being a comedian. What is like who's one of your favorite comedians, that kind of inspires you?
There's been so many over the years. I mean, Jim Carrey in his early days,
Yeah.
these days I love guys like Jim Gaffigan. Um, Jim, I could watch Jim over and over again. His delivery and him being true to himself. Rodney Carrington's another good one. I've always loved Rodney. Rodney was sort of, he's one of those country comics.
Yeah.
Uh, the one that I've really gotten to be a fan of lately is Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
Nate, I just watched his new special on Netflix about a week ago, On the Move Out Here, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And it was shot at Universal Studios. And I know the area that it was shot very well. And he's just good, man. He's good and clean.
Yeah.
And not that I need that, but it's just neat that you can watch it with your kids, because there's not a lot of stand up you can watch with your kids.
Yeah.
But he's good, man. His timing is slick. Um, there are a lot of them out there, but those are some of my favorites right now.
Yeah. So what's some of the differences, from like the, filming acting community, LA to Atlanta?
Monumentally different. Atlanta is still fairly new in the game, and of course,
Yeah.
the roots in LA are just super deep.
Yeah.
And you'll see a lot of the crews and cast in Atlanta shooting that are LA and New York based crews.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so you get the efficiency of an LA crew with the different looks of what can be provided in Atlanta. Atlanta's got just about every sort of locale you can ask for. And on top of that, they got sound stages that are, Pinewood, as a matter of fact, is a big one. You can get just about any look you want in a stage or any locale that they have around there.
Yeah. So what is your favorite project that you've wrote so far?
Um, I've got a couple right now that I'm working on. One of them is called Superhero Shrink.
Yeah.
Superhero Shrink, we shot a little teaser of it a few years ago just to pitch around, and it's come a little further. And now we're doing a lot of original characters. We're doing original superheroes, it's fun creating those original superheroes. And it's a half-hour scripted comedy, so it's not like anything that's been out there been done. So it's fun getting to create those characters and putting them in normal situations that are not super situations or situations you would need a superhero for. So that one's kind of leading the pack right now as one of my favorites.
Yeah. So another question about Cobra Kai. What has been your favorite part of the show so far?
Oh God, man, there's been so many.
Yeah.
Uh, I love to see some of the original characters come back and play.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Elizabeth Shue came back in, that was awesome. And there's been so many moments that just give you chills.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And I got to be honest with you, had a huge crush on Elizabeth Shue, still do.
Yeah.
So to see her again, it was like seeing the one that got away,
Yeah.
so to speak. But seeing those old characters come back into play is pretty great, and a lot of the sort of Easter eggs that they
Yeah.
have, and some of the little little secret drops and things in there. Those are cool. So it's just, it's sort of given me a chance to relive my childhood again through these same characters. It's
Yeah.
not like a typical reboot where they would just put a new type of person in the mix just to make it different, make it stand out, which is great. I'm all for that. But it's neat to see the same ones come back into play, living the same life now that you were living, and you grow with them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you're a fan of the sequels, but what was it like, for like, people like Chosen coming back, and then Terry Silver's gonna be coming back season 4. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, I think it's cool. Obviously some of the franchise, some of the films were better than others and had more success rates than others, but it's
Yeah.
still neat to see it come back, because as an actor, when you're a part of something that becomes great, even if you're a part of something that's not as great as the original, you're
Yeah.
still a part of that thing. So
Yeah.
to give you that opportunity to come back as an actor and reprise that role, and sort of bring it back to life and give it new. I mean, there's so much possibility for these roles and
Yeah.
what they could be now. You know what I mean? Even if they weren't as successful at the time, you could make them 10 times more successful now, and it sort of gives an actor a rebirth of sorts.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it's great that they're bringing all these people back. You know who I wish they really bring back is the dentist.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he had some car trouble and needs to.
Yeah, or he needs a root canal.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe needs to. I'd love to see maybe like Daniel take Johnny to an appointment or something. That'd be
That'd be
something.
great. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think like you said, with like Karate Kid 3, the next Karate Kid, those weren't the best movies per se, but I think the writers can bring back these characters in a way that'll be way better than the movie itself.
Yeah, yeah. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, these guys did a good job writing what they did, and they did the best for what they could do during the day. So the fact that these movies got made that's success in and of itself. I just like them bringing back those characters. It's continuation, just continuation of what we knew when we were kids.
Yeah. Speaking of reboots, what's something you'd like to see get rebooted?
That's a great question. I was actually working on something myself. There was a show back in the 80s called Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
And I was working on a reboot of that. And then I saw in the trades about a month ago that George Clooney is bringing back Buck Rogers. So that one kind of got squashed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to get into that. Mine, I think his is coming back as a drama, sci-fi drama, but mine was coming back as it was a half-hour scripted comedy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of those shows, I like the old sci-fi shows that were, you go back and look at them and you're like, man, this was terrible.
Yeah.
But, in the day, like, I think it'd be great to bring back Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was a terrible movie, but I would like to see a new terrible version of it today.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your advice, for anyone wanting to get into, I guess comedy, acting, directing, anything like that?
I mean, the biggest thing is don't have a backup plan. If you give yourself a backup plan, if you really want to do something, put everything you've got into it every single day.
Yeah.
If you want to be a comedian, write something every day. If you want to be a writer, write something every day. If you want to be an actor, do something towards your career every day.
Yeah.
Always be learning. Always be a student of the game.
Yeah.
And the more you become a student, the more success you'll find that turning into.
Yeah. So last question. Have you ever got to travel outside of the country, to work on a project?
I haven't really done anything TV wise or movie wise, but I've done some stand up out of the country, and I've done some improv out of the country, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're doing improv, when you're used to doing stuff in the US and then you have a collection of people from all around the world, it doesn't always translate.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is actually the last question. How is, the film industry, is it picking back up now? I'm sure it's shut down for a while with the whole COVID pandemic.
Yeah. I actually, I did a movie. We were, I think maybe, if not the first, we were one of the first ones to come back.
Yeah.
And I shot a movie with Tim Blake Nelson this past summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a psychological thriller, sort of horror Western. It's with Tim Blake Nelson, Tommy Hobson, and Tara Perry. And I got a chance to work with Tommy and Tara years ago on a Nickelodeon show called the Fresh Beat Band. And we just stayed in touch, and there was this role that came up, and they said, we think you'd be perfect for it.
Yeah.
So we shot that last summer. And we were, I think, like I say, I think we were one of the first productions to come back online. But since then, people have really been trying their best to get back up and running again. And I feel like production is full on going again. There may be some slight exceptions, but I think by and large,
Yeah.
movies, TV, it's all back.
Yeah. What's some of the, differences real quick, like you're having to do now, because, the whole pandemic's going on. Like,
Obviously, being on set is different. I mean, as actors, most of us are huggers. We're very
yeah.
emotional people, and we love connecting with each other on set, the cast, the crew, all of us. And to not be able to hug somebody, especially if you haven't seen them in a while and you want to see them and you want to hug them, that's
Yeah.
been difficult. And then just, making sure you keep a mask on until you go to shoot, and then you put it right back on. It's just adjustments. That's all it is, and it's different. But I mean, just to be back working again is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to thank you for coming on today. It was great to be able to chat with you today.
Yeah, well, listen, thanks so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.